matchup, it goes without saying, but I'm hoping Ultra Prime can at least challenge there and cry and can draw some blood against his old org.
We'll have to wait and see. RNG still sitting very much at the top of standings, or near the top of the standings. Have played a lot less games than most other teams, given they were the MSI representatives for the LPL. So it's taken them a little bit of they're getting a little bit of a slower start, but they will have to pay for it in the latter half of the split, as they have like 2 series a week for the final 5 weeks, I believe. So does end up, kind of having to reclaim those places, but Ultra Prime 2 and 3, they would love a win right now. We're seeing a lot of bot lane bans coming out right now. There's Senna, there's Kalista, there's Zeri, and that means that Ultra Prime, they're actually going to go for the Lee Sin and say, cool, we're happy to weigh on Viego, but this is still way on Viego.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like RNG aren't really pressed by this. They know that they can still pick up a strong jungler. No jungle bans done that. Wukong, which is kind of mandatory, coming out in the first rotation. And Hacker is someone who can definitely pop off for the Lee Sin, but, we've seen it go in both directions. RNG going with something that kind of you'd expect to see in spring. Aphelios Nord prioritizes heavily, but something to note is the amount of 80 carry bans we've already had coming out. Senna, Zeri, and that Kalista taken away. Obviously, Lucian is something that's dropped in prior, but also can have a hard time into Aphelios, just due to the fact he has so much more sustained damage. And it looks like you might just see that spring trade. Oh, we got so bored of Machine.
Are you bored of it still? That's the question. Are you bored of it still?
I feel like we had some fresh picks come in, and that's kind of meant I'm not as been out from it. But spring, when we just saw Aphelios Jinx all split long, did get tiresome.
That is very fair. And honestly, the Aphelios was Gala's go-to pick in Springs as well. That was the thing he played the most. Even when the Jinx was an option for him, he much preferred that. And honestly, the Aphelios, I will say, hasn't been as gutted as the Jinx in the most recent of patches. Definitely feels like you have an awful lot more room to work with. And now with the side of RNG kind of finally recognizing they can go for their jungler, the Viego gets locked in for Way, something that he is so damn prolific on, so damn comfortable on. And now we'll see where the final few bans want to come in.
Yeah, one of the things with the Aphelios is he actually got a buff to, when you put levels in your abilities with Aphelios, instead of upgrading your skills, you actually get stats. They buffed the attack speed he got, and also the lethality, I believe. So part of the reason we are seeing him a bit more, Jinx hasn't been changed, but it's kind of just like, you do outrange Aphelios, and you can perform well in the team fight. So there's that sort of view there. And we've had quite an even trade, right? Both teams have their junglers, both teams have their bot lanes. Looking at what they're going to be able to do in the next rotation, I gotta say, I favor RNG in this position, because I feel like, in terms of what's been secured so far, they'll be comfortable, but going into this second rotation, they get first choice on what they want to take, whether it's mid or top, and then they will get that counter pick as well, guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing the Sejuani being banned away here. So they're saying, all right, Zoom, you're not getting a super tank. We're not going to allow it. And the Jax as well, something that Breathe is very, very comfortable with. And honestly, we can have a little bit of a moment as well before the bans kind of finish out. Breathe's transition into this roster, it definitely has not been seamless. It definitely looks like he's taking a little bit of time, but it does feel like they are slowly but surely adjusting to how they want to play the game with him now on the top side.
Yeah, and I think, the expectation was it was going to be an easier fit than Bin, but it still takes time to integrate a new player. I think Bin so far has been a solid addition and has made it work. A lot of top lane bans, not much luck towards the mid lane. We only have the Ari from the early rotation, so interesting to see. I could see Ultra Prime even looking towards the Lissandra maybe. Obviously, Xiaohu has been excellent on it, and I really love Lissandra with Viego. Just the fact that you both get those resets on those kills can be really powerful in those early skirmishes, and you have the late game AD carrying the Aphelios to work with. But we'll see what RNG go for. Expectation is if there's like a top laner who you really want to solidify, lock in, which appears to be this Gangplank, and with all those top lane bans, I understand it, then it makes sense to take that, and then it does leave them with that mid lane counter pick. So for the side of Ultra Prime, question is, what can Zoom go towards with so many things banned away? I feel like they already have a lot of team fighting power with their Jinx. Could lean into something that just sort of rounds her up and can provide a front line for her.
We'll have to wait and see. Looks like the LeBlanc going to be coming in here for Cryan. So something that he has been able to play of last split as well, but not to too much success. Does give you a lot of kill participation, but honestly, this kind of just leads into you kind of saying to RNG, okay, take the Lissandra. You have a lot of ways of dealing with what the side of Ultra Prime have thrown into you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lissandra will be really good here for RNG, so that sets that up.
Swain
And interesting
top.
enough, we're going to get a Swain top lane. So longer lane, and Swain obviously struggles a little bit earlier. You are going to get out-traded by the GP. He is going to harass you down. But at level 6, if you find an all-in window, definitely opportunity to make that happen. I'm not really convinced by this. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think RNG, I mean, we talked about it already. This is a no-brainer Lissandra game for RNG. Great synergy with the Viego. You have scaling side lanes to lean towards. You're into LeBlanc, which is when we first saw Lissandra come into the meta, it was the Aftershock Lissandra specifically into LeBlanc. So I think RNG are really happy with what they've got so far. I think that composition feels, you know, if we saw this in spring, it'd be kind of just par for the course. Ultra Prime, I feel like they have their work cut out for them. And I'm interested to see how this Swain does into the Gangplank in the top lane. Obviously, Swain can be quite good into short-range compositions. RNG's is short-range, but they also have the DPS just to burst through him with that Aphelios. Yeah,
and the Gangplank kind of, again, something that Breed is incredibly comfortable on, something that has kind of fits his style. You think of Breed, you think of champions like Renekton, the Aurelia, the Jaces, things that can just take over a game, and Gangplank falls very, very nicely into that. So I feel like if you're on the side of RNG, you're very happy with what you just got there. And Ultra Prime, they feel like they may be just calling the gauntlet a little bit and saying, look, can we even beat them with their most comfortable picks?
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things that RNG on comfort can be such a pain to deal with. I think that's kind of something we saw a bit at MSI as well when we had, you know, when they were on blue side, the opponent was red, there's a bunch of picks you have to ban away. You don't get as much freedom to target the comfort that RNG have. I know a lot of the picks, like, I feel like Galio was forced into the meta by RNG in the LPL. We saw Knight have to pick it up in that finals up against Shahu, partly as a denial, just to be able to match the Roman pressure. So yeah, this is already a favored matchup towards RNG. I think the draft favors them now. I am interested to see how Zoom does on this Swain into the GP. I could imagine he's picking it because he finds it to be a good matchup. And in terms of that level 6 power, the all-in that Swain gets is pretty significant.
We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. We got the two little brothers just grazing, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. As we jump into game 1 of Ultra Prime versus RNG. Ultra Prime looking now to make sure that they do not get any shenanigans level 1 that they will not be prepared for.
Getting that early ward down as well is nice. You can see Shaoxi is the one who placed the ward, and that means, because one of the big things with top lane is like wards are so important in terms of brush control, especially against the GP. You can put a barrel in a brush, and if you can't auto it, it can obviously just be a pain. So getting an early ward, so you have that for your level 1, can be really nice for your top laner, and then he still has his ward he's able to use later. And you can see Shaoxi will just switch to the scrying thingy. What's it called? The lens. Oracle's lens?
No, it's not Oracle's lens. Is it?
Scrying lens? Scrying lens, I think it is.
No, it's Scryer's Bloom. It's Scryer's Bloom.
Man. I'm not paid to know the names of all the ward items. I honestly forget them. But the red one, red trinket. Okay, cool. Red trinket. He can clear out wards with a bot brush, so it's not as big of an issue that he doesn't have his yellow trinket.
Oh, it is Oracle Lens. I just looked it up. You were absolutely correct.
I did just say every possible variation of what it could be. I was like, scrying lens, Oracle lens, yellow trinket lens, everything.
Yeah, it's actually.
Eventually, I'm gonna get there.
It's Stealth Ward for the yellow one, Oracle Lens for the red one, and then Farsight Alteration for the blue. So there you go. There you go, my son.
Yep.
Carry on my way. Do you remember when Oracle Lens you could like pop it in an area that it wasn't just above your head at all times. You could just put it in an area. That was so good. It was a bit too good, but it was so good.
I mean, I feel like the fact it moves now means you can cover such a wide area, you know?
Yeah, true.
Ends up being pretty powerful. Now, it's like one of the things is denying vision so strong now as it is. We do see level 1 from Jinx, even with the nerfs that came into it that kind of pushed out the meta. Still able to outmatch the Aphelios. So obviously, doesn't even have an ability level 1. And Ultra Prime doing a good job to set up that wave control. Something to note, Elk has gone for the Cole, so potentially not expecting to go too heavily into all-ins there. You'll notice Ming went for the Dredge line there. That's how you want to play this matchup. If the Zenith Blade connects, you want to Dredge line it mid-air to interrupt the Leona so she doesn't make it to you or your AD carry. Obviously, Shaoxi didn't connect, but Ming ready with knowing how he has to play the matchup to sort of mitigate the pressure.
I'm curious as well to see with the Swain top. We talked about how it will struggle a little bit in the early stages. Of course, Gangplank not going to have a great time until he gets those levels up into the parlay, and that's when that matchup really starts to go in his favor. He gets, of course, the Grasp of the Undying procs as well. But both junglers in this top side, the Scuttle is going to be confirmed here. Wei is going to walk over a ward, so they know exactly where he is. Now, honestly, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. Hacker's going to have Zoom for support. They do land the Sonic Wave. He does get the stun back as there is the Vision of Empire's going to land and Wave's going to flash away, but Hacker's going to join him. Zoom's going to get him there with a never move, and that's going to be first blood going over to Ultra Prime.
And Wade just going for such a bold play when you don't have Prio in the top lane. Obviously, a champion like Swain, who has the AoE in his Q, Zoom even puts 2 points into it, will have Prio against the Gangplank, who's only really range when he's using his Q. And regardless of that, we still see Wade try and play aggressive and instantly punished by Ultra Prime. So really positive from them. And that's the thing to note, right? Is when you have a Lee Sin, you have LeBlanc Lee Sin mid-jungle, you want to be snowballing and finding a lead.
And we're going to see an engage on the bot side. Gala going to be forced to cleanse. The Ignite has gone down. Still haven't traded back any other summoners just yet. Sway is in the area, but again, Leona having a good trade of the time at this time, as Ming needs to be a little bit more on point with trying to mitigate those Zenith blades.
Yeah, and it's Cleanser Ignite, so relatively even between the two, but obviously Leona wants the cleanse to be down more than anything. Just mitigating that CC makes such a big difference now. Xiaoxi might be in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. He's going to get hooked back. The Gravitum is down. He's not going to bother wasting his flash, and the patience from Wei pays off.
Yeah, and the sad thing is Hacker was on the bot side of the map. The wave is in a state where you want someone to come with you to crash. Like, that is an easy setup for Wade to be able to get into the lane and find a gank, but Hacker ends up clearing through his jungle, doesn't assist his bot lane to get the crash in. And now, actually, if you look, Elk has reset. The wave is still in a bad spot, so it's not just the kill going over. Elk is also going to be missing out on some farm as a result.
Xiaohu locked up a little bit, but Hacker no flash, so no real way of getting himself to cut the distance on top of the Lissandra. And now we're starting to see some pretty decent early game aggression. And honestly, this is such a breath of fresh air compared to the last game where nothing was really happening. And now both teams looking to try and put their supports up towards this mid lane as Wei now been spotted out. They know he's going to be walking up towards this top side. Hacker, we have a lot of criticisms for this guy, but so far so good for him on the Lee Sin.
Yeah, it's been a solid start, and I feel like if Hacker gets a solid start, gets momentum, definitely puts him in a really positive spot. You see the outcome, we are going to get the crash in. Gala and Ming did reset, but had the wave in a position where it would stay just outside this tower and deny some farm. So Gala gets this massive wave to collect, and ultimately he's not really going to end too much ahead of Elk in this situation, but just showing that, you know, Hacker probably could have been there to help find that window to crash the wave in. See the top lane matchup develop. I gotta be real, I haven't seen this top lane matchup too much, so kind of learn as we go situation. Breed obviously trying to keep your distance at this point. If Zoom can get on top of you and stay on top of you, the ult is pretty hard for Breed to deal with in the 1v1. He just never is going to have enough damage to cut through him as he's draining that health.
Yeah, Breed now level 6 does have access to his Cannon Barrage. We are going to see the Vision of Empires used to just try and delay the back of Wei, who would like to get a little bit of a reset going for himself. Speaking of reset, Xiaohu goes back now, has got his Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Actually went with the Electrocute onto the Lissandra, so looking for that big burst potential. We might see a little bit of engage here. Would be risky here for RNG, but both mid laners are available. There is going to be the Ice Claw to come in, and Xiaoxi's been separated. He flashes away, and the Chompers are good to try and stop the pursuit. They do get the CC down on the Xiaohu, and Ming is looking for Elk. He does land the dredge line. There's the Cannon Barrage. He jumps in on top of the Blast Cone, but Elk was wise to his tricks, and he just flashes over to the red buff.
Yeah, it still ends up, it's a weird play. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of viewers will be watching this and question it, but he just wanted to guarantee they get Elk's flash. If he didn't go for the Blast Cone, there's a chance that Elk is able to walk it out. Maybe a bit of a weird one regardless, maybe a bit unnecessary. You probably would have forced Elk to flash in the Blast Cone. Regardless, they end up beating the summoners. They get both bot lane flashes. And what I want to see from RNG is a follow-up to this, okay? Those summoners by themselves aren't that meaningful unless you can make a play happen. Xiaohu currently has Prio and is starting to make the walk down, and Wei is already here. So 4-man bot play potentially being set up here. And with no flashes, Elk and Xiaoxi could be easy pickings.
You don't have the Cannon Barrage, though, for Breeze. As we can see now, Xiaohu just seeing if he can find out where everyone is. The Glacial Path might be used here to try and get himself over the wall without being spotted, but RNG think the better of it. They don't have perfect vision of where this Lee Sin is. He could just be sitting in a ward or in a brush with a pink ward, so they're gonna back themselves away. But again, pressure for RNG.
Yeah, I think the thing is the wave wasn't too big. I think that was definitely a factor here in why they didn't end up going for it. A bigger wave, and maybe they at bare minimum have Xiaohu claw over to deny it away, but they just end up applying that bit of pressure, moving off. Tiny bit of damage to tower, but not really much to come from it. But still, flashes down for the bot lane Ultra Prime. Definitely something they can set up in the future. But now we see RNG actually rotating heavily over towards this Herald. Bear in mind, Elk is still bot catching this wave. Gala is moving up now. Ultra Prime, they need to get this Herald and get out.
I mean, they just missed the chain there. The ethereal chain not going to be landed. They may try and just burst it down. They're going to try and look for it, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it. No, he flashes in and he doesn't even get the smite. That's going to be stolen there by RNG. The Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't even finish anybody off. It's Cryan trying to do the damage, but they've already lost two. Xiaohu will eventually fall to Zoom Swain, but look at Gala just 1v1ing the assassin of Cryan right now, and he's not going to be fooled either. He knows which one to go for. Doesn't quite have the damage to kill him off, but RNG just fighting over this Herald and winning.
Yeah, they got the Herald and they got the fight win. They got everything they wanted in that situation. And Ultra Prime, it felt like they were trying to sneak the Herald. That was the game plan. Getting quick when RNG has made this move towards bot, invested their time and effort to try and make that dive work. They don't get it quick enough. And I think the big thing is, as soon as you know that Gala is going to be there first, you should have opted out. They do use the ult from Jinx to try and solidify this play, but it comes down to a flip. They end up focusing on a Xiaohu, but Xiaohu is probably the worst target, as you can just self-ult and get the healing. The ult comes in from the Jinx to contribute, but there's just no way they're going to win this fight. It's kind of like, okay, let's just get out. But the problem is, look at the minimap. We actually saw Elk walk all the way up. If he had stayed bot and he just fired the ult, that could have been a much better play for Ultra Prime. They could have got at least a couple of places in the bot lane, but because Elk walked up but didn't make it, RNG are happy to take that one. They get the kill advantage, they get the Herald, and they lose very little in the bot lane.
Yeah, very little. It's exactly the same CS score as it was when they left. You can see now Gala has a little bit of pressure in towards this mid lane, but the next port of call is going to be that Dragon. Xiaohu going to collect that mid lane for himself, as Ming and Gala just play bouncers and protectors around the site of the Dragon. They know that if they can't get vision down for Ultra Prime, they're not going to contest.
Yeah, and I think there's still a timer where Elk doesn't have his flash available. I think the fact that Hacker doesn't have his Zoom, doesn't have his up against Alessandra, that's so threatening. The fact she has that point-and-click ult, and I think Ultra Prime are struggling to find windows in on this one. We'll just see RNG, vision secured, objective picked up. They won't even let the rocket connect, and now moving down towards bot, Elk has to be so careful. Ming with 6 as well. Your cleanse will do nothing against him. And it just feels like they really want to try and deny some pressure here. The one downside is the Herald was picked up, but it is Breathe who has it. Oh, they're looking for the play now.
They're going to go for it. There's no flash here for Xiaoxi. He gets heartbreakered already. Lissandra is coming. The TP, that's going to be Cryan coming into the bot side, but he's a little bit late on the play. There is no Rift Herald here, so he should just be able to clear this wave. But honestly, with Hacker coming in, do they look to try and maybe go for this one? Ultra Prime, they got to back away.
Yeah, there's no way you can continue this. There's still the ult available to Xiaohu. So threatening if someone oversteps, and that's the downside, right? The Herald is in the top lane with Breathe, so they don't have it to use here. Otherwise, this would be first tower taken. But RNG still making a positive play. They punished the lack of flash available to Xiaoxi just before it became available, and they also get a ton of gold onto Gala.
And this is what we love about RNG. When you think about this team, it's not... Yes, Xiaohu is incredible, and Gala does have absolutely incredible pop-off moments, but this is a team that we said right at the start of the day is so smart with its map movements, with how it wants to play the map. And this is why, like, yes, it's not an exceptional gold lead, but you've got 2 kills. You denied the Rift Herald. You took the first Dragon. You're constantly just putting these little deficits on everything you want to do here as side of Ultra Prime. And it's not about getting the ultimate, you know, the massive spike in gold or a massive advantage. It's about the little things that will lead to a massive advantage.
Yeah, and so far, 1,000 gold lead pre-Herald, but that is... The time is coming up soon for Breathe. There's a reset timing for Zoom. I think Breathe might just have to slam that. He's actually recalling, so maybe he's recalling to put it down in the bot lane, have it walk through. I think that's the play. If you look at him on the map, yeah, he walked down towards bot, slammed it. So this isn't ideal, but I think the thought process is if they can get it to connect with bot lane, they will get the tower. But this means, like, you give so much warning to Ultra Prime. Ultra Prime are like the biggest signal ever that a Herald is going to be coming bot and they need to try and do something. The question is, can they do something?
That's the big thing. It's almost more frustrating when you know it's going to happen, but there's nothing you can do about it. They will have it come into the wave now in one wave's time, but again, what do RNG do? They don't just go, right, we're going to 100% protect this, which they are still doing. Xiaohu's going, I'm getting pushed in mid lane because LeBlanc's not here. Now I can roam down. You've got the TP on Breed. You've got the Cannon Barrage as well. This is going to effectively be a 5v3, and yeah, Ultra Prime, they can't do anything. Oh, flash in. They land the hook. It's down onto Hacker, who does get the dredge line down, and they're going to be able to turn this one 100% in their favor. Ultra Prime, you had all the warning in the world. You had all the premonitions you could have possibly needed, but it does not matter because they're going to lose 2 towers off of that.
And it almost ends up being worse because they have the warning, because they group up to defend, and RNG bring enough members. Once again, Xiaohu making the move with Alessandra. The ult from Xiaoxi was good to stop him from getting in immediately, but Ming just so well played, and I have to flame Hacker a bit here. If he had flashed that dredge line from Ming, yes, you would have been triple flash on it, but if he doesn't connect, he doesn't get the follow-up. We'll get the replay coming in. Looks like Cryan actually opted not to move down here when he could have, and look at Xiaohu. So Xiaohu goes in, but gets ulted. Xiaoxi flashes, but Hacker doesn't. Xiaoxi and El both do. Because Ming connects with the Lee Sin, the ult comes in after, and they get 2 kills. You know, you already burnt 2 flashes. A third isn't that big of a deal, but the end result is because Hacker doesn't flash, they end up going down. They lose 3 towers, actually. They lost the inhib tower as well. You know, I've seen some Heralds. That is pretty good as far as Heralds go.
That is, you know what? You're a bit of a Herald aficionado. You love to kind of break down what's good, what's bad, what's a, you know, optimal use of it. Probably the most optimal use there is to make the longest lane in the game the furthest away from the next Rift Herald as long as physically possible. Now that wave is going to have a very good opportunity to kind of bounce into people, and you lose so much gold and CS from it. That's why you also don't see people taking away the inhibitor, because that's how you lose gold and experience yourself. But RNG now looking to try and fight around this dragon. Honestly, Ultra Prime.
From Ultra Prime.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ultra Prime, this could end up being the game for you if you're not able to make this fight work. No flash here for Xiaoxi, so he's dead. It's a 5v4 already. There's going to be Demonic Ascension, as we can see. They're just going to be in full disengage mode. Hacker trying to go for something will kill off Xiaohu, but it's a double kill for Wei. Ultra Prime, they're just so not ready for this in whatsoever, and they're getting absolutely pummeled.
I'm not sure what else they expected, but the outcome is as we foretold, Ishin. RNG completely stomped the fight, and Ultra Prime just have to run away. Xiaoxi going down again, 0, 5, and 2 right now on that Leona. He has really felt the brunt of the play from RNG. Herald is going to be secured, and I think RNG can just look towards the Dragon off their next reset. We'll see the replay. I'm just not sure what the game plan was, right? They're posturing here. Xiaoxi, you are not tanky. He gets absolutely obliterated. There's a reset, right? We have the Frozen Thrall on the ground. We have the reset for Wei. It's a Leona reset as well, so you can engage in, get the WR resistances. And then Hacker looks for the kill on the Xiaohu, but it just doesn't matter.
No, I think this game is very, very quickly slipping away from Ultra Prime, and this is the difference from the last series to this, is that RNG will take an inch that you give them and turn it into a massive advantage. 4,000 gold lead, 2 dragons, they still have a Rift Herald as well to use. It's 16 minutes into the game, Ox, and this Viego 6-1-3, like I said, it's like, yeah, you might take a favorable matchup. The Lee Sin can skirmish, but this is Wei's Viego. It's literally his one trick.
Yeah, I especially think when you have Nautilus, Lissandra, it's such a fantastic duo because you can't cleanse what Nautilus offers, so cleanse has less value. You know, even if the cleanse is up for Elk, you still have the Nautilus engage, but Xiao has all that lockdown available to Lissandra, and it's single target. That's what you want when you're playing Viego, is tools from your team to guarantee someone dies. And we saw that, right? Xiaoxi, nothing he could do in that situation, ends up going down. Wei gets the reset, and when you're this fed as a Viego, there's no stopping you from just taking over the fight. That's not to mention, this is a team with a GP and an Aphelios as well, but it just doesn't even feel necessary at this point when the trio of the jungle mid support can do all that work.
Oh, Xiaohu gets kicked back, but again, he's already got his Everfrost. He's not going to be able to do anything, and now Hacker, you're not in position to be able to defend this turret charge, so you might even lose 2 towers off the one turret. I will say, though, good never move here from Zoom, kind of dissuades the rest of RNG away from going for it, but this is rough. 18 minutes into the game, you're already got yourself pinned back behind tier 2s. It's getting harder and harder for Ultra Prime to even find an option because, again, you don't have great engage options. If the Leona goes in, the Leona's just going to die. Yep,
and I mean, so far, it looks like Zoom has had a decent laning phase. He's got a lead. He's able to control the wave state in this matchup and, you know, handle Breathe. But what else has it really done? This Swain pick hasn't really managed to solidify anything for this team. And it feels like Ultra Prime, I don't really know what the option is. I think you have to fish for picks. I think you have to have Cryin or Hacker finding an angle where they're able to blow someone up. But it gets harder and harder. Like, look already at RNG's composition. Right, Jinx isn't doing that much damage at this moment, and you have a Hex Drinker on the Gangplank. You have a full Maw onto Wei. Lissandra has Stopwatch and is Lissandra, right? Not exactly an easy target. Like,
you even have a Stopwatch on Ming.
You have a Stopwatch on Ming. Gala has Cleanse and Flash Up.
Yeah.
Gale Force as well. There aren't easy targets right now, and with the gold deficit already in place, it is problematic. You have to also mention the fact that Ultra Prime didn't even get any early dragons. At least if they get early dragons, you can say, well, maybe they have more time. Third dragon is coming up in 2 minutes 40 for RNG. It's not exactly the fastest pace we've seen for dragons, but the fact they secured everything so far this game, you know, aside from those 3 kills, Ultra Prime have got nothing.
Yeah, literally, it's literally 3 kills. A 0-5 Shousey. I just had a quick look and realized just how far down he is really feeling in this game, and it's gonna hurt. Again, you are the primary engage for your team outside of Hacker finding a god tier Lee Sin Insect. There's not really an opportunity here for Ultra Prime to get back into it. And again, I'm glad to see this from RNG. We, you know, obviously last summer we did see them have a little bit of an MSI hangover, but this time around, like, they've only lost 1 game, and that game was against V5, who are currently undefeated. Not exactly a bad stat to have.
Yeah. I mean, and that was a close one as well. Oh, Wei might be engaged on 2.
Wei is going to be engaged on 2. They're going to try and fully commit, but he flashes away. There's the Cannon Barrage. The Solo Player does hand. Wei does get his Maw Memory is popped, and he's eventually taken down. But look at L flashing away, but he's in the middle of the Cannon Barrage. And Lissandra and the Felios, Gala and Xiaohu now being absolute chads, walking forward and saying, we're the actual team fight. Gala is huge with these chakrams. And even though everything went right for Ultra Prime, it still went oh so wrong.
Yeah, that was the correct play from Ultra Prime. And even with the way it turned out, I still think they're happy with the fact they got the shutdown from Wei. Obviously, a lot of value there. But you can see, even with them taking down Wei, it took so much time. They didn't really have the damage. The Maw bought a lot of time from as well. But then Gala comes in. He has red-white. And this is kind of the problem with this Swain pick, is normally at this point in the game, Swain can be quite a pain to take down when your AD carry isn't doing that much damage, but Aphelios has sustained damage for days. So as you can see, Wei survives for a very long time. The Maw coming at the end makes it a bit difficult to finish him off. Then Gala, the ult comes down on an L. He just runs forward, deletes him from the map. Xiaohu decides crying is no longer for this earth. And then Zoom, he is low in fairness here, but Gala's DPS just means, like, even the bulkier targets like the Leona, like the Swain, are just paper.
Paper to be cut. We don't even have a Gwen in the game. That is how far ahead RNG are now. 6,000 gold, and they're starting to look at securing vision around this Baron. But honestly, they could just kind of secure the vision and then start to look towards this dragon. This dragon would be an Infernal Soul. It would give them a great opportunity to get themselves another win condition. 407 onto Gala. He's working up towards what can either be a Bloodthirster or an IE. Honestly, he could go either way. I personally would like to see the Bloodthirster just to give him that extra survivability.
I think it's going to be IE, though. Just knowing Gala, like, he's confident. He's going to go for the damage. Obviously, with the Collector as well, a lot of people talk about Collector being not the best against higher arm targets, but earlier in the game you get it, the more powerful it's going to be when people's base armor is lower. And Gala is going to be doing ridiculous amounts of damage at this point of the game if he finishes the IE as well.
Shousey doesn't have an item. We're 22 minutes into the game. He is such a poor support. I think he has it now, but he's not going to be allowed to recall.
You know, honestly, there's still the upgrade. Like, you have to finish off combining the Null Magic Mantle and the Cloth Armor into an Aegis. You could still be a while away. I mean, supports tend not to get that much gold, but this is rough. And okay, that's starting to do damage.
Yeah, these barrels are really starting to become a problem right now. You can see they're trying to look for something. Breed's going to be able to eat an orange, so he'll be K. That's basically your engage done, and now they can re-engage here. Hacker got caught by the lollipop, and that's going to be a little bit of a cavity for him. He goes straight back to the gray screen, aka the dentist. And that's going to be RNG moving in more and more pressure, more and more gold. And honestly, this has looked so smooth from start to finish from RNG. And Ultra Prime, they're a good team, but they just can't do anything.
No, it just doesn't even close. You know what this looks like, Ashin? This looks like the MSI champions playing against a team who are not the MSI champions. Pretty convincing, all in all. RNG, you saw the moment Hacker overstepped there, everyone was just ready to jump on him, absolutely decimate him. And yeah, they opt not to end up going for the Baron off the back of that, trying to play it safe. They know and respect the fact that against the Jinx, if you get stuck in the pit, it can go bad. But unfortunately, Shasi goes for the engage. There isn't really a good target there. Like, he hits Breathe, who cleanses it, but Ming and Xiao, who aren't exactly who you want. And then Hacker makes the mistake of existing and just gets instantly punished for it.
Yeah, this is, considering how slow our previous series was in terms of games, this one is a little bit faster pace. We are now at a 8,000 gold lead, 3 dragons, not a single tower down. As you mentioned, apart from those couple of kills, Ultra Prime have got nothing. This is as a near perfect game as you can possibly get. Is now Xiaohu just going to be able to take his claw over the wall, and Hacker now having to deal with that Banshees makes it so much harder to try and catch Xiaohu out.
Yo, Breathe isn't here, but he does have TP, but he's just pushing for that bot in here.
They
but
can't
honestly,
engage.
I don't even think they need Breathe. I think they'll win 4v5.
They would win 4v5 because Gala's going up to an IE. He's so big. And look, they can say Breede's now coming in. Someone has to reset. We can TP straight to the Baron.
Yeah, now posturing towards it. The vision is completely cleared out. There's only that blue trinket. They will place another. The control ward will deny the vision. RNG don't need to make a play for this, though. If Ultra Prime overstep and they finally engage, they will. But there's Dragon in 2 minutes, and that would be soul for RNG. The pressure isn't there. You see, they don't opt to start it up. And they can just now move that pressure down towards this Dragon and look to set up for it. Here's the problem, is that if Ultra Prime give over the Dragon to RNG, Infernal Soul for them, devastating. But if they contest it, though, and lose the fight, they lose the Baron, and they probably lose the game. There's not really a win in this situation unless you're able to win the fight and the Dragon. But I am hard-pressed to work out how Ultra Prime would be able to do that. You look at the AD carry items, Elk sitting with that Kraken Slayer and that Rapid Fire, whereas Gala has finished the IE. Such an early point in the game to have those 3 items for that Aphelios, and he will just shred anyone.
I mean, I love the play as well from RNG because not only, yes, they TP'd to the Baron, they didn't start it up, they didn't take it. You're like, oh, why would you TP for it then? Because what happened is that the bot inhibitor is so damn low that anyone walks up to it, it's going to get taken down. You lost so much CS into the top lane because of the wave being pushed in, and now you're just having to accept that you just can't deal with this. You've got green and white guns. This is being shredded. It's gone, and Hackers just found Xiaohu, so now a TP going to be coming in.
You don't want to be
You gotta go for the fight. You gotta try something. Zoom's gonna go in, and Zoom is deleted. So much for a tanky Swain, and triple kill for Gala. Quadra kill for Gala. You know what it is. It's a pentakill for Gala.
And that looked like one of the fastest pentas I've seen. Gala just dashes in and eviscerates Ultra Prime. He had the items, but the play comes in, and RNG, they don't even wait for the Dragon. They don't wait for the soul. They want this game done now. And Gala does it in style.
Gala always does it in style. This man is proving time and time again why he should be considered one of the best in the world. RNG wipe the floor with Ultra Prime and take a near perfect game.
Controlled throughout. And RNG managed to make this one look easy. Gala flexing the muscles there a little bit as well. But the expectation was there. He had the items, he had the damage, but it was just clinical when it came to that fight.
Man, I don't know if it's because of me or because of, you know, he's just a great player in some regards or anything like that, but Gala seems to love giving me, RNG in general, seem to love giving me pentakills. And it's really refreshing to kind of get that one going for them. Because again, like, I think this is the big thing that you think of